Hello, readers. Glad you're back to read with me today. So we've read lots of different books over the past several weeks and practiced doing lots of different things with those books to make our reading brain stronger. We've been making text-to-self connections. We've been making text-to-text connections. We've been comparing and contrasting books using Venn diagrams. We've answered lots of good reader questions. We've thought about what authors do and what illustrators do. Practicing all of those things has made us better readers. It's also given us lots of different things we can try and think about when we're reading a new book. So we're going to change things a little bit from now on. When we read a book, we'll be giving you a menu or some choices of things you can do with that book to practice making your reading brain stronger. And you can do some of those things or all of those things depending on what you want to do. So here's the book we're going to look at together today. This book is called Nasreen's Secret School, okay? And before we begin Nasreen's Secret School, we're going to do what we always do and talk about a good reader question that will help us connect to the character and talk about the genre of Nasreen's Secret School. Then we'll check in on the front cover and begin. At the end, after we answer our good reader question, I'll be going over the menu of things that you can do, of strategies you can practice to make your reading brain stronger with this book. And then you can choose what you want to do. So as we're reading it, then you should be thinking about all of those things we've been practicing, right? Text to self, text to text. What are the books about? What are the things that happen during it? All of those will help you when we get to the menu, okay? So let's start with our good reader question that will help us connect to the character. It is this: why is it important to go to school? Why is it important to go to school? I know for me, the most important thing about going to school is this thing right inside my head, my brain. It's a chance for my dendrites to grab onto each other, to find things that I'm not an expert at yet and practice them, collaborating with my friends and persevering when it's hard until I get better or until I become an expert and my dendrites grab onto each other. So what do you think? Why is it important to go to school? Pause this video and discuss that with someone near you. I bet you had such a good conversation, and I'm glad you did, because thinking about why it's important to go to school will help you better understand Nasreen and what happens to her in this story. Now, the genre of this book is nonfiction, and a good reader will remember that nonfiction books are when authors write in order to give us, the reader, some information, to teach us something that's new and true. And this is a nonfiction biography, which means that the author is teaching us about someone who really lived. And here's the character, or the main character on the front cover. This is Nasreen, okay? So I'm going to tell you some things about her identity, being that she was a real person, okay? One thing is that Nasreen's age identity is a kid. Her gender identity is a girl. Her spirituality identity is Muslim, and her ancestors' identity is that her ancestors are from Afghanistan. Now, Afghanistan is in Asia, and many people in Afghanistan identify their race identity as Asian, but many people have ancestors from other places as well, and I don't know exactly how Nasreen and her family identify. So let's begin. Nasreen's Secret School, a true story from Afghanistan, by Jeanette Winter. And Jeanette Winter was both the author and the illustrator of this story, so she both wrote the words and made the art. My granddaughter, Nasreen, lives with me in Herat, an ancient city in Afghanistan. Art and music and learning once flourished there. Flourished means that it happened a lot. Then the soldiers came and changed everything. The art and music and learning are gone. Dark clouds hang over the city. Poor Nasreen sat at home all day because girls are forbidden to attend school. That means they can't go. The soldiers don't want girls to learn about the world the way Nasreen's mama and I learned when we were girls. I hear a lot has changed when the soldiers came to Nasreen City. One of the changes was that they told an untrue story, that school was only for boys. The full moon passed our window many times as Nasreen and I waited for things to change. Wow, that means that she's been at home, unable to go to school for a long time. Nasreen never spoke a word. She never smiled. She just sat, waiting for her to be allowed to go to school again. I knew I had to do something. This is Nasreen's grandma who's telling us the story. And I hear that she's really worried about Nasreen not being able to go to school because of the untrue story that's being told, that school's only for boys, and that she's going to plan to do something to interrupt or stop that untrue story. I heard whispers about a secret school for girls, behind a green gate in a nearby lane. I wanted Nasreen to attend this secret school. I wanted her to learn about the world as I had. I wanted her to speak again. So one day, Nasreen and I hurried down the lane until we came to the green gate. Luckily, no soldier saw us. I tapped lightly. The teacher opened the gate and we quickly slipped inside. We crossed the courtyard to the school, one room in a private house filled with girls. I hear the author is telling us that Nasreen and her grandma found the secret school. I wonder what would happen if they were discovered. I bet they have to be really careful so that doesn't happen. Nasreen took a place at the back of the room. Please, Allah, open her eyes to the world, I prayed as I left her there. That's the author giving us some information about Grandma's spirituality, identity, and how she believes that the world works. Nasreen didn't speak to the other girls. She didn't speak to the teacher. At home, she remained silent. I was fearful that the soldiers would discover the school, but the girls were clever. That means smart. They slipped in and out of the school at different times so as not to arouse suspicion. That means that no one would notice them. And when young boys saw soldiers near the green gate, they distracted them. That means they kept them from noticing. I hear that the boys and girls are collaborating to stop the untrue story and allow the girls to be able to go to school. I even heard of a soldier who pounded on the gate, demanding to enter. But all he found was a room filled with girls reading the Quran. That's another piece of information about their spirituality identity and how they believe the world works. Reading the Quran was allowed. The girls had hidden their schoolwork, outwitting the soldier. One of the girls, Mina, sat next to Nasreen every day, but they never spoke to each other. While the girls were learning, Nasreen stayed inside herself. My worry was deep. I noticed that the author and the illustrator are telling us that Nasreen, is still in the blue. I wonder if it's hard and scary for her to live this way. When school closed for the long winter recess, Nasreen and I sat by the fire. Relatives gave us what food and firewood they could spare. The day that Nasreen returned to school, Mina whispered in her ear, and the illustrator has included a speech bubble for us to hear what Mina whispered. She whispered, "I missed you." And Nasreen answered back, "I missed you too," she's saying in that speech bubble. With those words, Nasreen opened her heart to Mina. That means she told her about her life, and they connected as friends. And she smiled for the first time in a long time. At last, little by little, day by day, Nasreen learned to read, write, to add, and subtract. I don't know about you, but I'm having a text-to-self connection there. That's a lot of the same things that we're learning and studying at school. Each night, she showed me what she had discovered that day. Windows opened for Nasreen in that little schoolroom. When the author says that windows opened, they don't mean actual windows. They mean that she was given the opportunity, the choice, to see things in a new way. She learned about the artists and writers and scholars and mystics who long ago had made our city of Herat beautiful. I wonder how it made her feel to study and imagine what it was like when her city was different, not the way that it is now or was when she was there. Nasreen no longer feels alone. The knowledge she holds inside will always be with her, like a good friend. Now she can see blue sky beyond the dark clouds. I hear the author saying that when Nasreen grew more dendrites in her brain, it changed her life, made her feel more optimistic. It made her believe that things could be changed and that untrue stories could be stopped. As for me, my mind is at ease. The end. So my good reader question is this, friends. Why did Nasreen's grandma want her to go to school? Why did Nasreen's grandma want her to go to school? Think about that, knowing that a good reader will answer with evidence. So Nasreen's grandma wanted her to go to school because, and I know that when the author wrote or the illustrator drew. Think about that. If you're able, pause this video and discuss with someone near you. Why did Nasreen's grandma want her to go to school? Oh, I wish I could hear your conversations. So for me, I think Nasreen's grandma wanted her to go to school because she wanted her to be able to become an expert at things, to have her dendrites joined together. And I think that also Nasreen's grandma believed that if her brain became stronger, then her heart could come stronger too. And I believe that because of this illustration here, that the illustrator showed grandma imagining that it would give Nasreen more access to the world if she was able to go to school. So that's what makes me think that grandma wanted her brain and her heart to become stronger. Wonder why you thought that Nasreen's grandma wanted her to be able to go to school. Now, as I promised, at the end of each book now we're going to give you a menu with some choices of things you can do to extend the learning and make your reading brain stronger. We talked about how Nasreen's Secret School was a nonfiction book. So there are two things that we can practice doing with a nonfiction book to help make our reading brain stronger. One thing we can do is make an idea web. That's where we name the topic or what the book was mostly about, and then we surround it with details or new and true things that the author taught us about that topic. I've gone ahead and started it here for you. You complete the idea web. That's one thing you can do with a nonfiction book like Nasreen's Secret School. Another thing you can do is use a Venn diagram to compare and contrast Nasreen with another character from another book. So, again, I've gone ahead and gotten a Venn diagram started here where I'm comparing Nasreen from Nasreen's Secret School to Ruby from Ruby's Wish. You wouldn't have to compare and contrast with Ruby's Wish. It could be any book, really, as long as you can complete the Venn diagram with ideas that make sense. So, here's your menu of two things you can do with Nasreen's Secret School. You can do one today and one tomorrow, or really however you want to do it. So these are your two assignments or two tasks to make your reading brain stronger. Good luck with both, and we can't wait to see your ideas.